But now what I want to do is I actually want to run through these very quickly, but there are 11 different buckets. So those are the formats: behavioral, project, and situational. But there's buckets of question types that generally fall in certain what I would call categories of questioning. I think there's 11, give or take. We can quibble about whether there's 10 or 12 or 15, but generally speaking, you're going to get questions that fall into these groupings. And what I want to do with these groupings is I want to give you ideas of how to think about what it is to say. All right, now the first one, I call these the out of the gators. But basically, some of the first questions you should get in an interview are, why are you open to leaving your current job? Why did you leave your current job? Why are you looking? Those kinds of things. Why do you want to come here? Why us? Right? So why are you open to moving? Why did you choose us? Or why would you? What value can you bring? And how will you benefit? Now, these you got to have ready. Now, one of the things that I want to show you is we've been giving this away every single day, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time with the tactics. I just want you to be ready. These are standard operating procedure and should be asked in some format by every employer. They ask these, that's a good sign, right? They should want to know this, and you should be ready to do this. And if you haven't grabbed this yet, I have this booklet that we've been giving away for 6 years that I created, and I formatted my 14 favorite job interview questions. But what I did is I put the question up in the blue section. I showed you some alternate versions on the left. I taught you about what the employer was evaluating, and then I talked a little bit more about the philosophy, and then I gave you some sample responses. So you can see some of these out of the gators that I just talked about. If you grab this booklet is free, and so you can grab it. Stacy's pinned it in the chat. If you're interested in this, you can grab that free booklet, because I've taken a chapter out of my interview intervention book. It's my silver bullet interview chapter where I identified the 14 most effective job interview questions that you can be asked. 43 variations of those questions, as you could saw the alternate versions, what the employer is evaluating, why they're asking it, and some of the best ways to approach it, and example responses. Now, that's a chapter that I peeled out of my interview intervention book, and I'm giving that away for free. If you want the interview intervention book, the whole book, we have a book package where you can grab the hardcover. The $30 hardcover is $7. You get the $30 hardcover, you get the $9 ebook, you get the audiobook that's not even for sale, and you get a bunch of other bonuses with it too. So you could go that route if you want to chip in a few bucks. Maybe Stacy can drop, somebody's already dropped that. Actually, Stacy, could you drop the interview book offer, the free book offer for $7? Don't laugh at that expression, but basically I'm looking to recover some of the fees for the services, the envelopes, and wherever, but I'll send it to you anywhere you want in the world. But gotta know the out of the gators. Now, there's a couple of other out of the gators that employers love to ask you. I call them the lazy two, because it requires no thought on their part. They're turning over control of the interview to you. It isn't a great way for them to run an interview, because it leaves you to your own devices to talk about whatever you want to talk about. And the goal of the interviewer is to get information that they need to ascertain in order to make a determination about whether you are a good fit for their company or not. If you're wandering all over the place when they ask you things like, tell me about yourself or walk me through your resume, the one thing that I want to say about these two types of questions that I want you to be ready for are, number one, a great place to start is on the first session of this free workshop where I talked about how to introduce yourself. I also have a video on each of these on my YouTube channel. Tell me about yourself, the best response for that, and walk me through your resume, the best response for that. You can go watch those if you'd like, but the one point I want to make about this is when you are walking them through you want to make sure you are emphasizing their gaps and their problems and how you would solve them. The fact that you have solved them, the fact that you can solve them, the fact that you love solving them, the fact that you wake up, you go to sleep at night thinking about their problems, you wake up thinking about those problems all day long, you solve those problems. That's the way you want to tell these stories. So I've given you the exact scripts for these two as well. Those are the early ones. Now, there's another one that I don't love, where they ask you to look into the future and they want you to play Nostradamus. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's the first act you will perform when you get here? What will be your greatest accomplishment if you worked here? What would be your greatest accomplishment in 3 years? And they're asking you to project into the future. Now, the first act is about what you know about their problem and what's going to give them the greatest ROI immediately. That's what you want to concentrate on. So whatever their problems are that you notice, you'd say, I would dive right in and focus on this. When you look at the 5-year question, I've put a video out there, wouldn't you know, on my YouTube channel. And the thing that you want to stress in the 5-year question is about the trajectory that you will be on. Most people fall victim to this question because the question is designed with the where word in it. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Which implies that they're looking for an answer as a spot and a moment in time. And what you naturally want to do is you tend to want to focus at a moment in time in the future about what you'll be called or what you'll be doing specifically. I expect that I would be a senior system engineer by then. I would expect. So that's not the way to go about it. Big mistake. What you want to talk about is think about the trajectory and who you want to be in 5 years. In 5 years, I would imagine I would be somebody who's focusing on building large this, supporting you in that, and talk about what it is you'll be doing in relation to who it is you will be at that time, not what you will be called or what function you'll have. Talk in general capacities. I've got a whole video out on my YouTube channel about this. I even lay it out. I lay out a script for you too. So there's the Nostradamus questions. I want you to go into the future. You got to be ready with those. Then you've often got the conflicts, right? How would you handle a disagreement with a coworker? Well, tell me about a time when you satisfied a difficult teammate, a difficult customer, a demanding boss, or whatever. And in these situations, the inclination is for you to immediately start telling a story about how you influenced somebody to see your way. That's not what I want you to do. The first thing you want to stress here in these situations is you want to talk about your philosophy, and your philosophy is I'm open-minded. So whenever I have a disagreement with somebody, I'm ultimately wondering, maybe they're seeing something that I don't. Maybe they know something I don't. The only way for me to grow as an individual would be to listen to the views of others, learn from them, and then see what their viewpoint is and try to evaluate it from their vantage point. And then, so be open-minded. Then I would listen to what they had to say. Then my first inclination will be, why does it have to be either or? Is there a way as teammates we could make it better? Generally, when you disagree with a teammate, it's usually about an approach that you want to use to solve a goal. That happens in 90% of the cases, and that's where most disagreements occur. It's just like accidents that happen within 1 mile of the house. Most disagreements at work happen to be with coworkers about the approach that you want to take. So whenever that happens, I always look for, is there an and option instead of an or option? So there was this time when. So you want to make sure, especially when it's a negative question like this, that you're giving them your philosophy about what a well-adjusted human being you are. Okay? So the conflicts ones, that's number 4. And then number 5 is general, vague, random organization questions. Tell me about a time when you organized something. Tell me about a time when you brought order out of chaos. I hate these questions. They're silly. But no matter what you respond to, if you have to pull an example out of the sky, first order of business is you want to try to organize and show them you brought order from chaos to a problem that is related to what they do. But no matter who you are, no matter what level you are, if you get a question like this, and even if you don't get a question like this, so the junior people are going to get vague questions that say, tell me about a time you organized something. The senior people aren't going to get a question like that. They're going to get a question like, how are you going to build the sales team? How are you going to piece together the marketing team? That's still an organization question. So you want to make sure that you're talking in sequences and you're laying out certain pillars that go along with organizing something. What are they? So, for example, maybe you're a college student and I haven't organized anything, right? I do my school assignments. Or I'm a junior, I'm 25 years old, I'm a junior engineer, and I'm constantly organizing it, but I don't really think about it and reverse engineer it in a manner that I'm going to answer a question that way. Well, you always want to start with, oh, well, I organized this problem, I organized this issue, just like I would organize any issue. The first part of organization is inventorying what needs to be organized, number one. Second thing is, in order to organize it, you need to assemble or prioritize it. Right, okay, that's conceptually what you would do. In order to prioritize it, you need what? Prioritization criteria. What takes precedent? What's more important? So I figure out what the criteria is. Then based on what I'm going to inventory, based on what the criteria is, then I go into organization mode. I place it where it goes. I sequence it where it goes. I troubleshoot it the way it should be or whatever. And then I actually lay it out, right? I blueprint it and then what? And then I do it. There it is. Organization. That's what you do, those 4 steps, right? I have a playbook, a la yesterday's lesson, for organizing anything, right? So that's ultimately what you want to say. So whatever example it is that you give, if you give them the pillars, you'll be okay. All right, that's number 5. Number 6, negative Nellies. Anything you would not do? Tell me about a weakness. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Anything I wouldn't do with the if they you actually get this question, your automatic response is I would not do anything illegal. Okay, that's the answer to that one. Anything else that's negative, you always want to do it by omission. Well, I wouldn't want to work for a company that didn't do this kind of thing, all right? So every time you get pinned into a corner and they ask you something negative, never make them errors of commission. You want them to be errors of omission. I have yet to do that. This is something it's a weakness because I've yet to get enough experience in implementing this. Get the idea. Omissions first. And I want to carry the omissions concept through a number of these. What would you miss about your current company, job, so on and so forth? What you don't want to do is you don't want to pick anything that they could be missing themselves, meaning your future employer. So you always want to pick the one-of-a-kinds. What's a one-of-a-kind? People. I'm going to miss the people. Right, because my people over there are not going to be working over there. No one takes offense to that, right? I might miss my customers that I've been spending a lot of time servicing. They're really great people. They invite me to the family parties, those kind of things. You want to miss the one-of-a-kinds where you run zero risk that employer has a gap. Because if you're going to miss something that employer cannot satiate, that's really bad. You're going to lose points. Okay, one-of-a-kinds. And then number 8, any regrets. Okay, I did this a while ago, regrets. I love We're the Millers, and I love that joke about, don't you have any regrets? And the guy's got regrets tattooed across his chest, and he's got regrets spelled with an A, and it's just not even one letter. So I always think about what I think about regrets. It's take-backs, do-overs. Is there anything you wish you did not do? Again, the big O, omission. So you do not regret. Actually, this is a life lesson here. You do not regret anything you've done in your life. You're going to regret things you didn't do. I wish I would have. I wish I would have contacted you sooner. That's my regret, right? I wish I would have. Get comfortable with that. So if you have any regrets, you want to make it a regret of omission, something you did not do that you wish you would have done, you wish you would have done sooner, you wish you would have taken a chance, you wish you would have done something you did not do. And now you know you're going to do it, kind of thing. All right, so those are the regrets, number 8. Number 9, the deal breakers. Any reason you would not take this job. Omissions again. I would not take this job if I felt that the company was not obsessed with customer service. I would not take this job if I didn't feel like the team was committed to right? Making this a world-class organization, or getting to be the #1 leader in the market, or whatever. It's omissions. Any reason you wouldn't take the job. It's positive for you, right? You turned a negative question into a positive, meaning I'm so customer service focused that if I find out you're not, then I'm not joining. Okay, something like that. You don't want to go down the path of, well, if you lied to me, or, oh, if I get in and all of a sudden you change the job description on me. Stay away from all that stuff. Okay, then you got the failures. Tell me about the biggest mistake you made. Tell me about when something went wrong. Tell me about a time you epically failed. All they're looking for is, it's okay to talk about a mistake. They're not looking for, have you never made a mistake? We all make a mistake. I make mistakes every day, literally every day. Every day. And so they're just looking for, do you have a good attitude? Do you have a good outlook? And what are you going to look forward to that something new has come out of the mistake? So you want the mistake to be valuable, and there's a lesson in it. So there was this time when, so anytime I'm a fan of failure, right? I know that failure is a sign that I gave it a go. If I made a mistake or something went wrong, then I'm going to learn from it. I think that's great. The only way to actually get better, as cliche as it sounds, you got to get out of your comfort zone. When you do that, or when you try new things, you're going to break stuff. Okay, so when I approach things that way, I always remember life happens for me, not to me. I would rather be aggressive. I would rather take chances. I would rather try new things. And when they don't work out, we look at what went wrong, we fix it, we learn from it, and so on. So all you're doing is you want to make sure you have a great attitude in the way in which you tell us. I do have videos on this one too on the YouTube channel. And then what I called, not Nearly's Sophie choice, but things like, would you rather work for yourself or in a team, or or do you would you prioritize your customer over your teammates, or something like that? Whenever you get into these situations, turn their or question into an and question. First thing I would do is I would look for, is there a way that I can satisfy both? That's my first inclination. I don't believe that I automatically have to give up one or the other. Yes, I understand that there's limited times in the day, but so whenever you're given an or situation, first inclination is I want to turn it into an and, not an or. All right, so when you think about these 11 groupings, you want to make sure that you were thinking of them in those terms.